All right, my friends and gems, and we are live on YouTube. And so we are going to talk about how to get relief from back pain. And so I'm going to get started. Carol, thanks for joining me here today, my beautiful friend and gem. Let's get started. We've got some cool little, here we go. Is this the right one? Yes, it is. All right, so let's get started. Let me make sure I share my screen with you, so I'm not just a talking head. All righty, so here we go. Okay, this is not covering any controls. Okay, sounds super. So we are going to get started today. I'm going to share with you about how it's possible that you can go from something like this, where this person has clearly got a curved spine, to having a spine that is free of all of those things. So before we get started, I want to let you know that these patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease, because we do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose. Sidebar. Those words are owned by big pharma, so only their meds can fix that. So we don't offer protocols because only those meds can provide that. So the suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. Now, we strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. No medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. This is intended for human use only, although many of my patients and clients definitely apply their used patches and even brand new patches on their quadrupeds, their mammals. All right. Also, good thing to know is that back in the fall, in August of 2023, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has taken the position that all claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will be regarded as drug claims. So the FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides, such as GHKCU, is inappropriate for a general wellness product. So as a result, we can't say that, although 90 clinical studies show that in the US, Europe, and Asia, because that's where the clinical studies were done, all 90 independent scientific studies with double-blind placebos, the works. You can only imagine the expense to get 90 clinical studies done. Well, that being said, we are going to get started here. Chris Williams, you are on Zoom here with us. You're happy, ready, willing, and able. Would you like to share your story of transformation? This is quite epic.
Hi, Lillian. How are you?
I am doing fantastic and loving life here with my beautiful friend and gem, Carol, and with our viewers here on YouTube, and thrilled and excited that you're here too.
Hi, Carol.
Hi there. Let's see you.
You know what? I'm a little scruffy today, but I'm
Oh,
no less
good.
open to
We like Scruffy. No
Oh my
problem. Scruffy's good.
Your
it.
beard has really filled in a lot more.
It's crazy, Lillian. I have been so busy. I kind of shared with you. My daughter was roller skating. My oldest daughter, she's 30, ooh, 35. Anyway, she was roller skating because that's what she did in her youth with her friend on Thursday of last week. She fell and broke both of her shoulders and her nose. And so we were in the emergency room all weekend. And I patched her the first day, but I kind of decided, you know what? Let's let them set the shoulders
Yeah.
first and get everything set. And then the regenerative, we can accommodate that. So yeah. It has been a whirlwind of a week. It really has. And taking
Wow.
care of her, because if you can imagine, Lillian, if you don't have two arms, you can't eat, you can't go to the bathroom, you can't shower, you know. And thankfully, she has a loving family. My youngest daughter has been by her side, and her friend that she was roller skating with was by her side. Anyway, so that, and then I also have I'm connected with the Foundation for the Hospital for Cancer Treatment. I'm connected with a support group, a foundation that's having a meeting Saturday, a big one at Fresno State for the prevention dialogue of opioids and death with our children. So anyway, it's been a heck of a week.
You've had a spectacular week with a lot of interesting twists and turns and unexpected challenges. I'm really taken aback because I haven't seen you since we did your AO scan not quite a month ago. You look significantly different. You have a lot more beard and you have hair on the top. I could tell you have hair you have hair on the top and a little bit around here that you didn't have before that you're growing back. Your face is definitely fuller. You're not as gaunt, and your cheeks are fuller. So, there's more collagen on the face and you're rosier.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you look definitely better and younger. I mean, you were handsome before, but you're getting even better looking by the minute.
The oldest daughter, I was taking her to an appointment yesterday, and she looks down at my hands and goes, "Dad, your hands look like they're 40 years old." I go, "Yeah, I'm not 40. And she goes, "And the patches in your hair are growing and it's not growing back gray." And I said, "I know, patches."
So for Carol and for our viewers here on YouTube and anyone that watches this replay, tell them where you were 3 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's been about 7 months that you started on the patches. It hasn't been that long. Where were you 3 years ago and 7 months ago when our beautiful friend and gem, Lisa, shared the patches with you?
I can say this. So I memorialized my start date with LifeWave 4th of July, 2023. That way I won't forget it. I committed my life to our Lord and our divine creator on March 26th last year. That's my birthday. So I remember them. Anyway, thank you, Lillian. And I'm not a spotlight kind of guy, but as I've been going through this journey, I'm more and more I don't want to say impressed, but just elated with the outcomes of doing it, because I've tried everything, Lillian. I'll go back 3 years ago. Diagnosed with, it was actually 2022. It's almost, or 2020. It's going on 4 years now, believe it or not. March of 2020, about December of 2019, I noticed a lump on my throat. And I knew it wasn't supposed to be there. I know my body, and I wasn't supposed to be there. I was a robust 230 pounds, going to the gym almost every day. I knew that wasn't supposed to be there. In our medical world, to get into an appointment and start a relationship with a medical doctor is daunting, to say the least. I have a good team now with me, but they did do the biopsy, and it was stage 3 tonsil cancer in my left. So they prescribed 35 radiation and 7 chemo treatments is what they prescribed. I did not do that. The radiation, the drill there, they make a mask for you and keep you in place. I did not take that home as a souvenir, but about 32 treatments is when I started, 3 treatments of radiation, and I started feeling it in my body. 32 is when I went down for the count, totally down for the count. I was in bed, not eating. Mouth was extremely ulcerated, and I just had, it was horrible. I'll just say that. And that lasted for a year and a half plus going on. But now I want to say this too. I just did a CAT scan from the pelvis up and the neck up, and I'm cleared. There are no cancers. I want to make sure I share that. But during my healing process, which I started investigating homeopathic, allopathic, I was willing to do anything. And I want to share this more than anything. I spent tens of thousands of dollars on everything because I just wanted to get better. That's all I wanted. I didn't want anything else but to not lay in bed and feel like I'm dying. So, there was multiple modalities tried, and nothing works. Nothing has a case study. Nothing has a patent on it. They're all patent pending, and all of them are testimonials. So that's the first thing I'm sure you look for, as I look for, with anything new. Do you have case studies, and do you have patents? The answer is 99% no, they don't. Anyway, so I was blessed. Lisa called me out of the blue. She's a friend of a long time, and she knew of my condition. Back up just a little bit. So now I'm excited. Back up just a little bit. I had a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in my brain and in my right lung at the 2-year mark after chemo and radiation, which set me all the way back to ground zero. Getting through that, I'm kind of getting some of my cognition back as well, too. So July 4th of last year is when Lisa called me and said, you just need to do this. Now, we hadn't talked for a couple of years just because of our geography and so on and so forth. I just said, I trust you 100% implicably. Let's do it. Went in with the diamond package and started patching. When I got, actually, she sent me some samples, if you will, knowing that I would do them, knowing that I wasn't one of those that wouldn't do it. I took her word for it and said, I know you. I know how you eat. I know how your regime. I know the, and I started feeling the effects immediately. 3 days, more energy, better sleep, and things that most people feel within those first couple of weeks. Like I said, my daughter yesterday looked at my hand and said, Dad, your hands look like they're 40. Your hair's going back. And I had dysphagia. I had mouth ulcers. I had the list is, I have a list. If I go on with that, we're going to be way more than an hour. But most everything from the chemo and radiation and blood clots has reversed themselves. The latest one is I had a right bundle blockage a year ago because they had taken pictures of my lungs for a follow-up to my blood clots. They wanted to know everything was all right. I did that, and they discovered that I had. So I found a cardiologist. They wanted to make sure that I didn't have any what's it called, Lillian, abscess, cavitational lesions, in my lungs, and there was that severe blockage. That was just, so what's the month before July? June. That was in June that I had done that, and they had recommended me to a cardiologist. It took me 3 or 4 months to get in there. Then it took me another couple months to do the stress test and the angiogram. And I went in to them, and he said, I don't know what you're doing, but it's completely reversed itself. You don't have any blockage at all anymore. Just a side note, and that's kind of a feather in the cap compared to everything else. And I've been eating clean and doing the right things for myself. But my testimony is just that I feel like myself again. Yes, there are side effects that I recognize from chemo and radiation and aging. At least we forget that. But the aging ones are getting less. And I hope I stayed on task cognitively through this, because that feels pretty good. Because 3 years ago, I couldn't hold a sentence together. And now I'm just yakety, yakety, yak.
Well, and in July, when I first talked to you, you could not talk very much, and you had, so much pain from all the ulcers, the lesions in your mouth, and the doctors couldn't give you anything to give you pain relief. And your esophageal cancer was so severe that you also had a device that was implanted into your esophagus, and you couldn't eat regular foods. So talk a little bit about, on a scale from 0 to 10, your pain level and your ability to speak. Because if I recall, you couldn't speak for more than like 8, 9, 10 minutes.
Lillian, look at me. I'm just yakking away and I'm so happy
You-
that I can.
Your voice isn't even crackling. It's like it's so you look significantly different. I mean, we took pictures at as you know, A4M in December. If I were to pull up the pictures from A4M and people were to see those pictures from now, just from December, and we're here at the beginning of February, it's only been the last 2 months. And there's like this more rapid progression from the outside that I can see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's inside out. There's no doubt about it. You know what? As humans, I think we don't give ourselves enough credit, and or if we don't hurt, we don't recognize that pain is gone. That's a big thing that I'm starting to tell people. Track where you're at right now, because you only recognize it if it's an itch, if it's a scratch. If it's not a scratch or an itch, you don't recognize it.
Here's a picture of you in December at A4M, remember, out in the lobby? And people can clearly see the difference in your
look
now,
at my hair.
Look at your beard. It was still salt and pepper. You had brown coming in, and mind you, you were bald before. And you had for how long did you go without a beard? Because with chemo and radiation, everything fell out.
It was all. I usually grow a beard starting in Thanksgiving, and I usually cut it off my birthday, March 26th, ironically enough. And I mean, I could show you pictures from 6 years ago, and it's all gray. It's 100% gray. There's no salt and pepper at all. So that's pretty huge right there. But I do look happy there because I was with my gyms.
Yes, you sure were with your friends and gyms. And now look at you. I'm like really astonished to see how dark your beard is and how full, because it's more fuller than December.
Yeah.
And your face is fuller too. You just look healthier and rosier cheeked. You can tell from the other picture that your cheeks weren't as rosy. So, and it's great because your doctors had told you that you were going to have that esophageal implant for life, right?
Yeah, and I progressed on eating by mouth. My progression is 70% by mouth now, oral intake. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to candy coat this. It's miserable sometimes. It is, the after effects. And you know this, it just happens. And I don't know what day and what time and for how long. It just does. I'm happy to be alive and I'm happy to be here right now. And I'm happy to say that my progress is way more than anything I have ever used, done, researched with these patches than all of them combined. Now, I will say that diet propelled me as well. You got to eat good. What you put in you and on you is important.
Yeah, because when you put garbage in your body, now your body has to detox from that. It's got to divide the energy between detoxing you from those things, plus repairing and restoring the things that are damaged already. And so like the more energy you can free up by eating good, healthy, clean, organic food, things that don't come in plastic bags and boxes, things that are not man-made, but they grew out of the earth. They look the way they came, out of the earth. Then of course, then your body knows what to do with that because it's not synthetic and it's not, things that are genetically modified. Now they're calling them bioengineered. You don't know if they're crossing them with cockroaches or with, polyester. We don't really know. And so the thing is, things that are natural, that are organic, that don't have bioengineering on them, your body knows how to assimilate that because we're biological beings. So this is really quite extraordinary. So to see you, oh my goodness, it kind of took me by surprise because I just saw you like 3 weeks ago when we did your AO scan. It was, I think, the 10th of January when we did your AO scan, if I'm not mistaken. And so actually we're closer to a month mark because today's the 8th. So almost 30 days ago.
And I've laid off some of the stuff that was on there. I think papaya was on there. There was a couple other things on there. I've kind of backed off those. One of my rich indulgences are my smoothies because it soothes me. It's good for my throat. I can swallow it good. But I like fruit. I like fruit a lot.
Of course.
And you know what? I want to grow all my own food is what I really want to do because of all the stuff that's out there, the water, the air, the toxins. it's not feasible. It's just not realistic. So, I do make wise decisions when I'm at the grocery store. And like I said, I wish I can grow my own food because I know how I would grow it now. I know what I'd put in my body. Anyway, thank you.
You're quite welcome. And thank you for honoring us here today and sharing your experience, your before and after, and your incredible story of transformation of before you were on the patches and how you've turned the other cheek and now things are getting infinitely better. And of course, we're human. We have days where we don't feel as good as others. And sometimes you have what we call either a healing crisis or a Herxheimer effect where you inadvertently are detoxing from something and you don't feel all that great and whatnot, but it'll pass. And you just have to allow your body for it to regenerate and to restore and to move forward. So Chris, thank you so very much. I am so thrilled and excited that you were on here today and ready, willing, and able to share your incredible story. We're going to continue to track this. And I know sometimes we go through these waves of like all of a sudden, like in your case, in the last 2 months, you've had like a lot of progression where a lot of things are happening and we can visibly see from the outside the improvement. So in the next 3 months, 6 months, I would love to have you come back again and share your incredible story. And I know that there's certain people who had some of the same symptoms and the same diagnosis as you that are very eager to hear this recording once they, this is being broadcast live on YouTube. So as soon as this is done, I'll put it in the group. And I know that there's at least 2 people that were waiting to hear directly your story. So I'm so excited that it happened today. So I'm
happy to share. And sorry I was long-winded. And my attire, I've been up and going since 4 o'clock this morning, and I just kind of just settled down before I jumped on the call. And so my attire is not professional, but nonetheless,
it looks
fantastic. Thank you, Lillian.
You're quite welcome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share the, we were talking about our little disclaimer here. We got past that part. And so we're going to move on to, this is all possible because of the incredible discovery that Dr. Lauren Picard, think about Captain Picard in Star Trek. Remember Patrick Stewart played the part of Captain Picard? So that's not the Picard who discovered this. We're talking about Dr. Lauren Picard. He discovered that GHKCU copper peptide activates, basically turns on the switch of 33% of your previously dormant stem cells, turning your genes to a younger, healthier state. So that begs the question, what are stem cells? Well, stem cells are pluripotent cells. Pluripotent means pluri comes from the word plural as opposed to singular, and potent from potential. So it means that every little original master smart cell has all of your programming to take you from conception all the way to the end till you take your last breath. And of course, when your mother's ovum, united with your father's sperm, at conception, you now have 23,688 genes and stem cells that begin to form you in your mother's womb. And if you take the timeline from when you're born all the way to 30 years of age, you have 50% of your stem cells turn off. Not because your stem cells are damaged, they're not destroyed, they don't disappear, they simply go dormant. And if you fast forward your timeline to 60 years of age, basically for every decade, you have more stem cells, 50, 60, 70, 80% that turn off, 90% turn off, 90 turn off by the time you're 60 years old, until you apply a stem cell activation patch. Now, your body is your home. And if you look at the cells inside your body, your stem cells are like printer ink cartridges. And if you look at your ink printer cartridges, when you have 100% of the ink and you make a copy, the copy is indistinguishable from the original. But when you've used up 80, 90% of your ink, the copy is a faded version of the original. The same thing is true with your stem cells. When you only have 20 or 10% of your stem cells left, now the copies that they make of the new cells are faded versions of the original. So how do the patches work? It's a great question, because if you look at your body on the inside, we are light beings. This is not just a metaphysical thing that the religious and the ancient mystics talk about, but literally science has proven, because science is in fact the contemporary language of mysticism. And we are light beings in the sense that we have electrons and electrolytes. Every cell, every molecule in our body has electrons. And in our bloodstream, we have electrolytes. And those electrolytes and electrons come from electricity, which is light, and it's in the infrared spectrum. And they're loaded with information as well as nutrients. And so if I were to look at you with night vision goggles, you would be glowing in the dark, right? With night vision goggles, that's what our military and both the military as well as law enforcement use night vision goggles to catch the bad guys at night, because you can see them glowing in the dark, because that infrared light is not just contained within our skin walls. We actually emanate it. It glows outside of our skin. So if I were to take a flashlight and flash a flashlight on this diamond crystal, you would notice that the light source is the flashlight. So it bounces off of the crystal and it's bouncing back like a mirror, reflecting back to my eyes. And that's why we can see all these beautiful colors of the prism reflecting back. Now, while phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, the LifeWave patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patches have been placed. So, supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release, gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and visible spectrum light. So this then stimulates that area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. Variations on phototherapy, light therapy, have been used for at least 100 years, and in that time, there's been little evidence of any negative side effects. So here we have the first documented use of photobiomodulation, which was in 1895. And in 1903, Niels Ryberg-Finsen won the Nobel Prize for his research on using red light to treat tuberculosis of the skin. And in his experiment with mice, Finsen found that exposing them to red light reduced both their symptoms as well as their mortality rate from lupus vulgaris. So I want you to notice that the patches are non-transdermal. Non-transdermal means that nothing transfers into the skin. They're non-invasive. So these crystals don't invade the skin. They're not absorbed by the skin. They're simply a mechanical structure to reflect back your light. They're made of organic sugar crystals, salt crystals, hydrogen, oxygen, and water crystals, as well as a proprietary blend of organic amino acids. And then they are programmed to a certain frequency to create the effect of what the mother stem cell activation patch does. And they're holistic, organic, FDA-compliant Class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. We manufacture these products at FDA-registered facilities in the US, and our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board. So we manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device. And in fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and 13485 compliant, and that's a quality standard. So I want you to be aware that it's really important, I would never tell you to get started today on the patches. I would never tell you what to do. I would never tell you that it's now or never, but I will tell you, and again, you can do whatever it is that you want to do, but if you want to create an environment for your body and take good care of your body so that it can function properly, even if you're not on the patches, we know that the tenets of health are eating well, breathing good, clean air, drinking clean, healthy water. And it's important to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Now, if you're not sure that this is a big deal, let me tell you, it is a big deal. First of all, the first thing to know is that your DNA is made up of 92% water. It's the primary structure that holds up your DNA. And of course, you know your DNA is your blueprint that goes hand in hand with your chromosomes and your stem cells, right? It's 92% composition is actually water. The other thing to note is that when you are dehydrated, all sorts of things in your body shrink. So the first thing that shrinks is your brain. Your brain is 92%, your brain is actually 75% water. It's very hydrophilic, which means it's water loving. So when you begin to get thirsty and you start to feel thirst in your mouth, at 2% dehydration, you will feel thirst in your mouth. Let me show you what happens at 8% dehydration. This is a properly hydrated individual. And over here is someone who is 8% dehydrated. And at 8% dehydration, your DNA unravels. It literally falls apart. At 10% dehydration, you lose your mind. And at 12% dehydration, your body shuts down, you're dead. It's like cement inside your body. Nothing can happen. Nobody can survive that. So moving on, I'm sorry, I think we skipped here a spot. So, oh, by the way, it's also good to note that these patches that we're going to be applying on our body are going to be worn for 12 hours a day, then 12 hours off, then you discard them. So just as human beings, we live on this little big blue marble that from the outer space, it looks like a tiny little blue rock, right? And we are in a circadian rhythm. We are Bluetooth quite literally, not only to the rhythms of the earth, but also to the rhythm of the sun. So as you know, we have 12 hours of daylight from sunrise to sunset, and then we have 12 hours from sunset to sunrise. And our bodies have a sympathetic nervous system, which is right now when we're awake from sunrise to sunset. And then we have the parasympathetic system, the rest and digest system, which goes in sync with nighttime from evening, sunset to sunrise. So the patches honoring that 24-hour cycle that we have in our bodies, most of the patches are day patches. So primarily, this one can be worn during the day or at night, but for the most part, people wear it during the day. So you're going to be applying it, let's say 9 a.m. in the morning, and then at 9 p.m. at night, your alarm is going to go off and it's going to remind you, remove patches. Then you remove your patches and then you allow the 12 hours of rest, repair, and restore. And then the next morning, you get up, your alarm goes off, apply patches, and you apply your patches, and then you start another 24-hour cycle. So it's good to note that when you're just the tender little young age of 25, your fibroblasts already begin to decline in their production of collagen. So it's no wonder that by the time you're 30 years of age, you have 50% of your stem cells have already turned off. Again, not because they're damaged, not because they're destroyed, not because they've disappeared. They've simply gone dormant. They've just gone to sleep. So here's a gal who had scoliosis, pretty severe scoliosis. You can clearly see that she has a bigger dent here on the right side than the left of her body. You could see the raised scapulas and you can see the curvature of the spine, and she's leaning this way. This shoulder is lower, this one is higher. You can see that she has patched here are the X39, and she also has ice wave because she had significant back pain on either side of her back. And here she is within 4 weeks. Look how much straighter. Look at the symmetry between her left and her right side now. You see she has an hourglass shape. You see that her shoulders have leveled off and even her shoulder blades have flattened. So she felt significantly better after just 4 weeks on these patches. The next individual had obviously dysregulation of melanin in his skin, which led to light spots compared to his normal skin color. You can see that this is an older gentleman, probably middle-aged. I don't know exactly how old he was, but he started to wear the patches, and after 3 months, he saw an improvement. And over the course of the next year, you can see how much younger he actually looked. You know, he went from really having no eyebrows to having some eyebrows. And again, just like Chris at the beginning of this broadcast, this is 1 year later. You see Kathy, who had suffered for 33 years with an autoimmune disorder that was as a result of 3 breast implants. And she suffered with that, with all sorts of, tried all sorts of things for 33 years and did not really experience the benefits and the joy of relief and rejuvenation until she started in the patches January 2022, at which time she was 62. She's actually 64 years old now. We told her to get started on the patches and to take pictures every 30 days, which she did. And you can see here her first month and her third month, you can see a significant reduction in the fine lines and wrinkles in her neck and her chest. And you can see here in June, 6 months after being on the patches, she still had a hint of lines, but the fine lines, wrinkles are gone. And you could see how her skin is much more supple and moisturized and just much younger looking, much more collagen levels in her chest and her neck. And here she is in July of 2022. And so fast forward to October of 2022, a year ago, October, she posted these pictures on Facebook. Long story short, I had her come on to share her story of transformation like Chris did here at the beginning. If you want to listen to that story, you can clearly see in the video as well as this picture. And this picture does match her face and her image from the videos. Just like I can't alter anything about myself or you on a video, you'll see that she legitimately looks like that. Maybe tomorrow at 2, I will play a little clip from that so you guys can see that. She clearly does not look like a 64-year-old. She clearly looks like a 35, 40-year-old, in my opinion. Here's my story where I was hit by a bus just 3 blocks shy of completing a 16-mile bike ride in 2017. Won't spend a long time about this because I just did a live video last night about this, so you can watch a more complete explanation of what happened. But I suffered, you're talking right now to someone who had brain damage and had 0 short-term memory when I had that accident. 0 short-term memory. It was horrible, super painful. I got hit behind the head and the lower back, suffered a neck injury, discs in my neck, my lower spine as well, and a terrible laceration on my right leg, and a whole host of not just neurological conditions that ensued as a result of that, but also like my hormones were out of whack. All my chemistry was dysregulated because of my CPU going offline. It's like taking it off, disconnecting a computer from the internet. And fast forward, I suffered with that for 5 years. And I had significant dramatic changes once I got started on the patches, which you can see, this is the laundry list of everything that I had wrong, including I lost 50% of my hair. So here I have 50% less hair than I do here. My hair was dry, coarse, and brittle, and I had a bald spot in the back of my head. And when I started on the patches, at the 4th month, it filled in 70%, much to my surprise. That filled in, and in the first 4 weeks of my being on the patches, my memory took a big jump where I could recall things and memorize and recite things after just reading them once, which prior to that, I had to very arduously write things 3 to 5 times or more. I had to highlight it. I had to say it out loud. I had to do quite a bit of things to commit things to memory to then be able to recite it and refer to it in a broadcast like this. And so it's a big difference before and after. You can watch yesterday's video. Just go to Love and Money Secrets TV or the URL damelillianwalker.com, and you'll see it under the live videos. Here is Gail Henry, and she suffered from a severe curvature of a spine, and you can see she has a little bit of oxidative stress, on her skin, but you can see the fold of skin here, and you could clearly see the curvature of the spine. It's very pronounced. Here, less than 2 months, the curvature of her spine lessened. You can also see that her skin has a lot less oxidative stress. A lot of the spots, a lot of the moles, a lot of the age spots are gone. They're no longer there. Her skin is much more cleared up after just 2 months of being on the patches. So bottom line, what does this mother cell activation patch do? What does that cell activation patch do? So what it does is the moment you apply this on your skin, they work anywhere on the body, but we do have recommended places for you to put them to get the maximum effect. It resets 1/3 of your genes to a younger, healthier state. So picture a house that's in complete darkness at night. And now you're turning 33% out of 10 lights that you have in the house. You're turning 3, almost 4 lights on. You're going to regenerate your cells, replacing damaged cells. It's going to restore collagen. That's the number one building block protein of the body. It'll rebuild your scar tissue. It's going to reduce fine lines and wrinkles like you saw with Kathy, and you're seeing also with Chris. It's going to increase energy, increase sexual libido, increase antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. You're going to get pain relief, 50 to 100% pain relief within 3 to 4 minutes of applying this patch. Improved hair growth and improved deeper, sounder sleep. Very, very powerful. That's just one of the 11 or one of the fantastic 5, because there are 5 patches that take care of the primary systems of the body, which we will talk about at 7 o'clock tonight. We have a Veritas Consilium, which is a true plan of action or a recommendation using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to actually magnify the effects of these patches on the body. So the patches do come with a little instruction booklet that it shows you the acupuncture points that are recommended. For example, governing vessel 14. This picture is showing the fantastic 5, all 5 patches. Right now, we are just focusing on X39. So that goes on your neck bump. So I want you, if you're watching on YouTube, I want you to take your hand, put it in the back of your neck. You're going to touch the bottom of your neck, which is the top of your spine. That first neck bump, that is governing vessel 14. That's where your brainstem branches down into your spinal column, and it signals your autonomic nervous system through your spinal cord. It signals all the organs and all the systems of the body. Very, very powerful acupuncture point. The second spot we recommend is conception vessel 6, which is just 3 finger widths below your belly button. That conception vessel 6 deals with all things related to conception, all things related to reproductive organs, hormones, and to your digestive system. Very important. Oh, by the way, that you remember to drink from the time you wake up until you go to sleep, that you drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. So if you weigh, let's say 150 pounds, that's 150 divided by 2 is 75. That would be 75 ounces of water a day. So that means that you're going to be drinking 2.2 liters of water, or if you're using the bottled water that usually come in about 16-ounce bottles, that would be 5 bottles of water from the time you wake up until you go to sleep. The other thing to note about water and your body, when you're dehydrated, I want you to just stop at just thinking about when you feel thirst in your mouth. At 2% dehydration, your proteins fold. When your proteins fold, it disrupts something inside the body called the Krebs cycle. So when your proteins fold, the different cycles of your body don't work properly. So I want you to think about, oh my gosh, if I were to be folded in half, where I had to be at my waist, my head goes down to my knees, and I have to have the butt in the air with my head down to my knees, how productive, how well would you be able to manage? How well would you be able to feed yourself? How well would you be able to go to the bathroom, put clothes on yourself? You wouldn't be able to drive. You wouldn't be able to work. There would be very little, next to nothing that you'd be able to do folded in half. Same thing is true with your proteins. Your proteins need to be hydrated. So you need to have proper water intake in order to keep the proteins unfolded so that they work properly. Does that make sense? All right. So research paper quote, this patch increases your glutathione levels by 30% just by applying this patch. The patches worn 12 hours daily over a period of just 4 weeks produced a highly significant improvement in physiological functional status of the pancreas. Listen up to the organs here. So if you have an issue with any one of these organs, this is important to note. Improvement in physiological functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, your hypothalamus, and your pituitary gland, with a very significant improvement, and it shows here of at least 91%. That's very, very important, especially if you have any kind of compromise with any of the functions of any of these organs that we just mentioned. Oh, by the way, remember to drinker. Boy, Carol, you're witnessing me making up. I should start a list of funky words that I say during these broadcasts. Drinker. Okay. Remember to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water a day. Okay, my friends and gems. So, oh, by the way, did you know that blue light Yeah, blue light. The blue light that you're watching, you're getting blue light toxicity from watching this presentation here on YouTube. Doesn't matter if it's on your cell phone, could be your trusty dusty cell phone, or it could be your laptop computer, could be your desktop computer like this. It could be an iPad or a notepad, doesn't matter. They all have blue screens and they give us blue light, and that blue light destroys DHEA. That is man-made blue light, right? Causes destruction of DHEA, which is the building block protein of the body. It also causes inflammation in the body and insulin resistance. Not a good thing, increasing inflammation, right? It also causes mitochondrial dysregulation. And mitochondria, which I have pictured here to the left, are tiny little organs that are actually inside every cell of your body. The mitochondria is what is responsible for creating energy through the production of something called ATP in the body. So this brings me to the almost the end here of this presentation. Uh-oh, I am needing to wrap this up because I have a Zoom call. How much does this cost? Well, obviously we can't charge $1 million, and our therapies run, not our therapies, but traditional stem cell therapies run $8,000 to $11,000. So this is available to you, to people like you with family like yours, for just $5 a day for this patch. So you can get a 1-month supply of this mother stem cell activation patch for the cost of a Starbucks coffee a day. It's $149 a month. Or for the price of 2, you can get the fantastic 5. We can bring the price down to about 50% if you're willing to buy several months, 3 months or more in advance. So I'm going to go ahead, jump here to the end. We will talk later about how you can, actually we'll talk about right now, you can get started, get back to the person that referred you to this video. I'm going to go down here to the bottom. Remember to get back to the person who actually referred you to this broadcast to get your questions answered or to get started. And I want to thank you for your time and attention today. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And if you have questions and you're watching this on YouTube, just put them in the YouTube chat. If you'd like to get back to the person who referred you to this video, they can answer your questions. If you're someone from my team, or if I've brought you here, then you've got my number. You know where to reach me so that I can answer your questions. Have a great one. Ciao for now, my friends and gems.
Bye-bye.